Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng headed towards the calling. After over 4 months of flying, he finally got close. 1 billion kilometer, 900 million kilometer. The distance kept getting closer. After a while, it became 300 million kilometers. Discovered the enemy's scanner, his within an ice mountain cave. Barbata communicated. His scanner has an area of 300 million kilometers too. However, his scanner is less advanced than ours. Less advanced? Luo Feng revealed a smile. Great. After having the experience of being disadvantaged, the feeling of having the advantage with the scanner once again was great, as it determined the fact that this battle was now within his control. This is the enemy's appearance, Barbata said. Luo Feng looked up, a screen appeared in mid-air and footage appeared. It was the other race warrior chatting. There were a total of 3 warriors. Your Majesty, what a pity. Even though we met that Undying, we cannot deal with him. But we cannot let him get away like that. An underling Undying said respectfully. My strength can harm a pinnacle official, killing them however is extremely hard, unless I'm willing to burn some of my undying energy. The black-armored youth shook his head. Killing an undying body sure is hard, accumulating points sure is slow when one cannot kill a pinnacle official. The footage made Luo Feng frown. Able to harm a pinnacle official? Luo Feng muttered, it's unlikely that he has a treasure like the Showu wings, and if he can do that, that means he's at least a high emperor. This is troublesome, and from where the treasure seems to feel like it should on him. With a distance of 200 million kilometer, Luo Feng could feel the exact location of the treasure. He could confirm now that the item was in the same spot as the black-armored youth. It was definitely on him. What do I do? It's extremely hard for me to kill a high emperor. Luo Feng frowned. Even if I use all my energy, I'd still only have 10% of a chance of killing him. Luo Feng began to plan on how to deal with the enemy. However, the basis was still the requirement of strength. If the enemy was too strong, no matter how precise his plan was, it was still useless. This black-armored youth was a high emperor, that meant it was troublesome. 200 million kilometers away, within the completely frozen cave. The black-armored youth was talking to his 2 underlings. Go reflect and train. The youth ordered. Raise your strength, only then will we be able to kill a pinnacle official. Yes, Your Majesty. The 3 of them seemed to be chatting, however. They were communicating mentally too, in secret. The enemy's large scanner is more advanced than ours. Luckily our smaller scanner, which only has an area of 20 kilometers, picked up his scan. The black-armored youth emphasized. However, we can confirm that the enemy must be very strong considering the scanner he's using. Your Majesty, what do we do? The 2 of them asked. Let's pretend to keep chatting. Since he hasn't detected our small scanner, we can pretend to chat and lure him in. I can keep pretending to have high emperor level strength. A high emperor would have no threat on Yangji main continent. Even the powerful warriors would have to reconsider about using soul destruction techniques to kill a high emperor. The moment a high emperor self-destructs, that would be terrifying. Understood, Your Majesty. After confirming secretly, one of the underlings said, Your Majesty, what a pity, even though we met that Undying, we cannot deal with him, and let him get away like that instead. Our strength is enough to harm a pinnacle official, but to kill one, unless I'm willing to burn part of my undying energy. The black-armored youth shook his head, the difficulty of killing an undying body. The youth continued. Their act really confused Luo Feng. In truth, the black-armored only had the strength of a low emperor. The difference between a high and low emperor may not seem huge. In truth, the power difference was shocking. Many undyings spent countless years training and breaking through, whether it was the god body or law comprehension. The difference was shocking. A low emperor had to be careful on the main continent. A high emperor, however, could be a tyrant, unless he messed with some that was simply too powerful. The three other race warriors communicated mentally. The enemy hasn't left. His scanner is locked on us. The black armored youth said. Even though our small scanner can detect him, it can only detect his scan. With a scan of only 20 km, when we truly detect him, he would already be 20 km away from us. The advantage of the small scanner was just this. It could at most act as security. To rely on it to discover the enemy's location, that would be a joke. We are unable to detect his accurate location, we don't know where to flee to either. Blindly fleeing could very likely result in him catching us. The chances of us getting away safely is less than 0.1%. The youth said, our only option now is to scare him away. If we fight, we have to find our chance to flee. Understood. The two underlings replied. My plan is. The black armored youth swiftly told the two underlings his battle plan. Luo Feng continued to get closer, his scanner constantly locked on the enemy's location. Within the control room, a screen projected their every move. Luo Feng frowned suddenly, what is he doing? On the screen, the black armored youth flipped his hand. A beautiful purple flower floated beside, after which it expanded out fiercely and grew out of the caves, countless flowers with thorns pierced through the rocks. In almost an instant, the flower had spread over 100,000 kilometers. It completely wrapped the three other race warriors completely. Other race warrior. On the screen, the black armored youth said coldly, I know you can hear what we are saying. Luo Feng frowned in the distance, damn, the worst case scenario has occurred. Luo Feng had his own mini scanner, hence he was afraid of this happening. Also, he had no way to avoid it, he could only rely on luck, hoping that the enemy didn't have such a high-level mini scanner. However, from the looks of it, the enemy did have a very advanced mini scanner. Even though its area was small, it managed to discover his scan. I do not wish to fight against such a high-level warrior. The black armored youth emphasized. You should know that the consequence of an emperor fight is extremely severe too. I've already invited my emperor allies over. The moment the battle begins, they will rush over, and when that happens, it'll all depend on strength. The screen immediately lost its image. It was obvious the black armored youth had used his mini scanner to shut off any scanning within his 20 kilometers. Luo Feng was unable to see anything. Master, you've invited emperor allies. The two underlings were surprised. It's a ruse. The youth snorted coldly. Do you not know this? His strength is unknown, and he could very likely be an extremely powerful warrior. Do you think that without knowing the level of strength the enemy is, the emperor allies would rush over to help? Even if I did invite them over, the price would be too high. No one was stupid in the outer region wars. An emperor fight was risking it all, and anyone who was able to become an emperor would have his or her own methods. Who'd be willing to stupidly help out anybody? The moment they lose some of their precious trump cards, it would be too late to regret. Like the automaton warrior inviting the two pinnacle emperors. 1. They had to have some history or relationship. 2. The warrior had accurately measured the Silver Wing Emperor's strength along with its techniques etc. So the two pinnacle emperors had an idea of what to do. 3. He spent a huge price, billions of mixed elements, and that wasn't something just anybody could afford. Naturally, if it weren't for the two pinnacle emperors, the cost wouldn't be that absurd. Get ready for battle. Even if we can't win, I have faith in surviving. The black armored youth flipped his hand and a black disc ship appeared within the flowers. Enter the ship. If we get hit by a long-distance attack, with the flowers protecting us and the F9 ship blocking, we wouldn't lose out too much from the start. Luo Feng had lost the visual. Hence, he wasn't clear on what sort of trap his enemy had set up for him. However, tricking me once, and trying to do so again. Luo Feng thought coldly. High Emperor. If he was a High Emperor, he wouldn't act like that. Calling Emperor allies. They don't even know who I am, would they just come and help you? Also, it would take time to convince them to come over along with a huge price, it wouldn't be that easy. Barbata. Luo Feng ordered. Close the large scanner, and maintain the small one. Get close to him, within 10 million kilometers. Yes. Even though he didn't use the large scanner, as he could clearly feel the calling from the treasure, he simply had to follow that direction and get close. He had to use the large scanner initially, because he needed to know what kind of enemy he was facing, what race, etc. And from the looks of it, it was the Nature race. This was a distant powerful race that wasn't subservient to any of the pinnacle races. Seeing one Nature warrior here was extremely rare. This also meant it would be very hard for him to get help. My Nature race friend, I will use the most beautiful fireworks to welcome you, Luo Feng said softly. Luo Feng shut off his large scanner and sneaked closer. This obviously made the black armored youth grow uneasy. He was now unable to detect the enemy. Why did he stop using his large scanner? Did he give up? Yang, I've already checked. The Nature race are part of the demon camp in the outer region wars. Ha, thanks Kutuor. Small matter, Yang. Whenever you come to Star Tower, come look for me. There are simply too many strong emperors there. A low emperor like yourself going alone will find it very dangerous. Thanks. Luo Feng smiled within the control room. The reason he moved so slowly instead of rushing into battle was because he was waiting for this call. He had confirmed the enemy was from the Nature race earlier. They were extremely rare in the outer region wars. It was hard to determine which camp they were with. Since he couldn't determine, he made use of the network of friends. They had friends too, hence, it formed a huge network. He asked Kutuor, and Kutuor knew many other emperors. It was a simple enough question. After a while, he found out that the Nature belonged to the demon camp. Some Undying had discovered them riding along in a ship with demons before. So he's from the demon camp. That automaton warrior's bounty is only within their own camp, and communication between different camps is forbidden. It's akin to treason and treated with death. The demon side have no way to communicate with the automatons too. The two of them have no connection at all. Using the golden horned beast will be safe this time. Luo Feng smiled. The chances of getting the treasure has risen greatly. Alina, get ready. Yes, master. A blur of tiger-armored bug kings appeared, all giving off intrepid energies. These were much stronger than normal tiger-armored soldiers. Amidst the countless kings was the malevolent Mother Nest. To control 1,000,000 bugs precisely, she couldn't remain within the internal world. Listen to my order, Luo Feng stated. Yes. Alina replied mentally. Alina was Luo Feng's soul slave. The two had a special connection between their souls. There was no need to speak and the two could communicate mentally. Having the 1,000,000 king bugs is like having a deadly weapon. Luo Feng clearly felt the location of the treasure. It was naturally where the black armored youth stood. The only weak point is, nobody would stand still stupidly for the attack and would move around. Hence, combined with a very good scanner and caution, the bug's offense is simply too strong. He actually shifted his position sneakily. Luo Feng smiled. This is the accurate position, Luo Feng ordered. Alina, combine the 1,000,000 kings' attacks at this point. Yes, master. Wing. At the core of the blur of bugs that the Mother Nest sent, it controlled the 1,000,000 kings simultaneously. At this time, they were all of one mind. Every one of them had a large energy ball at the tip of their claws. If it's just one shot alone, that was something an Undying could totally ignore. 1,000,000 gathered into one, however, even a pinnacle emperor would fall if he was hit. Countless light balls tore through the skies, almost like countless shooting stars streaking across the skies, all gathering in one spot. The light beam that gathered after 100 seconds of thousands of kilometers tore through the brittle space between. We are under attack. The official Undying level Yang flower plant, that had spread 100,000 kilometers about the mountain, had unleashed its law domain long ago, spreading an extra 10,000 kilometers about. It immediately detected the terrifying attack. However, by the time it detected it, it was too late. The distance was too close. Rumble. The glaring light made even Luo Feng shudder within. It smashed straight into the countless flowers about, tearing the entire plant apart. It was almost like having one's hair close to fire. The strands would be instantly reduced to ash. The flowers suffered the same fate. Against this attack, that made even pinnacle emperors shudder in fear, the flowers were reduced to ash. However, the thick beam of light continued to pierce through the mountain, condensing further within. After piercing through hundreds of thousands of plant life form, it condensed in a spot and exploded. Silence. The land and skies seemed to experience calm. After which, rumble. The mountain the black armored youth hid within was completely destroyed, and countless rocks were reduced to nothing, with more being thrown all over within the torn-up space slits. The plant life form young flowers, countless flowers, were instantly reduced to nothing. It was a true annihilation. Luckily its size was huge enough, with a diameter of over 100,000 kilometers. If it was any smaller, it would have died. The explosion spread over 200,000 kilometers, hitting the F9 grade ship. Tear. The ship barely withstood the blast before being torn apart finally. The terrifying blast hit within the ship, and the black armored youth was so scared he even kept both underlings within his world ring, withstanding the blast alone. Rumble. 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 After several waves of attacks within the rooms, the terrifying force finally dispersed. What a terrifying attack! The black armored youth looked at the torn-up cabin before him, his expression changing. Even with such distance he could destroy the F9 ship. Even normal pinnacle emperors wouldn't have such strength. Is this the attack of a bug army? The combined attack of a bug army was well known as terrifying within the trillions of races. Subservient bugs. He rushed out of the ship and his fists became a blur. Without much precision, he shot out incredibly powerful undying energy straight at the direction from which the blast came from. A 1,000 undying energy light beams instantly shot out. This instantly depleted his undying energy within to almost zero. However, this was fine, as long as he didn't burn any, or destroy any bit of it. It would eventually return to his body. As the undying energy was infused with his consciousness and belonged only to him. This was the power of an undying. Thousands of undying energy light beams shot out. Luo Feng could only laugh at the scene. This Asia youth sure is smart, knowing instantly that that was a bug clan attack. However, since I know the bug's weakness, why would I give you the chance? Countless undying light beams tore through the skies. However, they hit nothing. After flying for a while, they hit the distant mountain range. As for the target, the bug army, straight after they had unleashed their attack earlier, Luo Feng had immediately kept them within his internal world. The bug army was one of his trump cards. He couldn't be careless about it. After all, the Emperor's undyings all had the power to destroy the bug army. Hence, he had to be extremely careful with them. The moment they were destroyed and Alina died, he would have lost his trump card. Poor Asia punk, go and die. Luo Feng instantly vanished and passed the Sho Wu wings to the golden horned beast. A silver-winged beast immediately appeared in mid-air. It flapped its wings and with 3 flaps, it became a glaring beam of light and shot through millions of kilometers at its target. The moment it made a move, it was to kill. Delaying the battle may have consequences, hence Luo Feng naturally wanted to settle the fight as fast as possible. As he swiftly tore through the skies, the black-armored youth who had failed in his attack frowned. He waved his hands and his 2 underlings immediately appeared in mid-air. Let's separate, release your law domains. We cannot rely on the scanners, we can only use our law domains. The youth ordered. Yes, Your Majesty. Even though the 2 official undyings were still shocked by the attack before, they knew they had no choice. The 3 Asia warriors separated and simultaneously unleashed their law domains, covering the surrounding tens of thousands of kilometers. Without knowing where their enemy was, they couldn't flee, they could only get ready for battle. Relax, the reason his attack was that strong before was probably because of a combined bug army attack. The black-armored youth communicated. And the bug army has to store energy to unleash that powerful attack. Therefore, each attack takes quite some time. I've already retaliated earlier, he's probably already kept the army away, as he probably cannot bear to sacrifice his bug army. A flower flew from the distance. Yang flower. The youth's expression changed. Master, I've lost 62% of my undying body. Luckily I detected the attack a little earlier and spread my flowers apart, hence I managed to save 38% of my undying body. It will take me many years to recover. The plant communicated. The black-armored youth was shocked. Just how powerful was that attack from before? The yang flower had a diameter of close to 1 million kilometer, even with its defense and preparation, before it only managed to save 38% of its undying body. Enemy. One of the officials communicated. The black-armored youth's expression changed and immediately kept the yang flower. Looking ahead, a silver-winged beast was rushing straight over. Its powerful pressure and huge size terrified him. Silver Wing Emperor. The black-armored youth communicated. Silver Wing Emperor, I'm from the automaton camp. There are warriors on your bounty, don't force me. The youth thought, there are very few Nasha warriors in the outer region wars. This Silver Wing Emperor probably cannot determine, within this short time, if I'm from the automaton camp. He had explored the Yang main continent for a while. Through his scanners, he frequently discovered the automaton conversations, hearing about the bounty. This demon camp punk still wants to lie to me, go and die. The rumbling voice resounded in his mind. Simultaneously, the huge silver silhouette rushed over. Fight! The black-armored youth gritted his teeth and shouted. Sue! 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 He led his two underlings and got ready to fight. The golden horned beast flapped its wings and unleashed strike travel, instantly leaving an after-image in the air. The silver wings acted like sharp blades rushing at the black-armored youth, and it tore through space like tofu, leaving a terrifying silver light. Die! The beast's eyes gleamed, unleashing its pinnacle technique right from the start. Wing wing wing. A droning sound could be heard. The youth suddenly stopped as he pointed at Luo Feng. His red gem-like eyes flashed, go and die. Immediately, a black thread appeared in mid-air. It was like a thin black snake reaching tens of kilometers in length, but only half a meter thin. The golden horned beast could easily see it. This wasn't some black thread, it was a black chain that acted like a whip. The black whip slashed through the skies like a long chain, stopping the beast. The black whip was a blur in mid-air. The silver wings slashed at the black whip. Kai kai kai, instantly knocking it away. The energy from the whip, however, seemed to constantly affect the beast, causing it to feel uneasy with its speed and sense of time. It was almost like it affected the flow of time. It broke through the beast's attacking presence. Time flow has changed. The beast flapped its wings and floated in mid-air, its eyes staring coldly at the youth. Silver Wing Emperor. The youth floated in mid-air and gazed at the huge beast. The automaton warriors have a bounty on you and you still dare to show yourself. If I were you, I'd have left the main continent long ago. Let me advise you, to leave quickly. Time laws. The beast let out a low growl. Right? The youth smiled and nodded his head. You should know that a warrior versed in the time laws is very good at fleeing. Even though you are more powerful, it's impossible for you to kill me, it'll be a waste of time for you. The other two underlings stood beside him. Waste of time. The beast spat out human language and roared. While creating Moon Policy, the Primal Chaos City leader had arranged many other race warriors for Luo Feng to fight, and he had managed to kill every one of them. Among which, there were some well versed in the time laws. Luo Feng was naturally clear on how troublesome it was to deal with them, even so, he had experienced it before. You can try if you don't believe me. The youth said softly. His red gem-like eyes gleamed. A formless soul attack immediately attacked the beast. It instantly passed the general armor. Since its material was special, it had great ability in blocking undying energy. Hence, it instantly reduced over 99% of the attack, leaving just a little, and with the beast god image roaring within. Soul defense technique Beast Howl. It dispersed what remained of the attack, leaving behind a weak inkling that did nothing against the beast. There were many ways to defend against a soul attack. This was linked to one's spirit energy levels. When Luo Feng was a normal warrior on Earth, before he was even a star traveler, his spirit energy was unable to pass through metal. Normal metal alone was capable of blocking spirit energy. As his strength grew, the spirit energy began to be able to pass through different materials. The Yunmo planet ship could block any soul attacks below undying level. The weaker it was, the easier it was to block. When one became undying, materials that could stop an undying's soul attack were rare. The efficiency was much lower as well. But the general armor could block 99% of a soul attack. It was simply too heavenly, and such a treasure was definitely a top-class treasure within the universe. Even the knights wouldn't be able to find such a treasure. Howl! The beast howled and rushed at the youth. Weng! Weng! The black whip lashed about and the time flow changed with it. The beast, however, let out a mad roar and unleashed its strike travel, flashing over and changing its position. Bastard! The youth's expression changed. The control of time flow was usually affected a limited area. If the golden horned beast was stuck in one spot, then it would be much easier for the youth. However, with the beast flashing about now, changing its position constantly, it forced the youth to constantly change the area he was affecting, and this was very taxing. Stop him! The youth ordered. Yes, Your Majesty. One of the two officials controlled a blur of silver threads, over 10,000 of them, and used them to engulf the beast. The other controlled a water-like cage that rushed at the beast too. This Nasha youth is trying to stop me and trap me within a small space, then either fight it out or flee. That would be his choice. Luo Feng looked at the two official underlings and understood his battle style. Countless silver threads rushed over. A water cage rushed over. You two officials dare to fight me? The beast howled loudly, causing the vast ice land to rumble. The ice layer on the ground and mountain around him to tear apart. The beast's speed reached its limit, leaving the others stunned as it warped about. The silver threads and water cage couldn't even touch it. How can it be so fast? It's absurd. Our spirit weapons cannot even catch it. The two officials were stunned. The black-armored youth was stunned too. In terms of instantaneous speed and warping, even a pinnacle emperor wouldn't be that fast. He didn't know that the Showa wings was most adept at movement. You two little punks will die first. He warped in mid-air and the beast rushed straight at the two officials. They tried to control their spirit weapons to protect them, but they were simply too slow. Be careful. The black-armored youth controlled his black whip, and was about to keep the two undyings in his world ring. However, the moment the world energy spread out, the golden horned beast used its two wings to form a ripple through the space, completely shattering the world energy. Howl! Against the black whip, the beast used its right wing to stall it, while its left wing acted like a huge blade that was over hundreds of kilometers long, slashing through the air. It left a dazzling flash of light over 10,000 kilometers long in space that lingered for a long time. Rumble! The two officials instantly exploded from the attack. At that instant, one of them began to reform. Luo Sha, Luo Sha. The reforming official's expression changed to that of an extreme shock. Luo Sha is dead, he's dead. What? The distant black-armored youth's expression changed. Your Majesty, Luo Sha is dead, and I lost 6% of my undying body. Luo Sha was a high official, getting killed with one hit. The surviving underling was shocked. This Silver Wing Emperor has pinnacle emperor strength. A high emperor could kill a high official, however it would take quite some time. They didn't know. The beast itself had the strength of a high emperor, and with the Showa wings, it had the strength of a pinnacle emperor. Pinnacle emperor. The youth's expression changed. A pinnacle emperor proficient in space laws, he should be able to teleport. If he uses that, I'd long have lost out. However, it hasn't used it at all. Yet, its speed is unbelievable. He probably has yet to study teleportation, and studied the other parts of space laws instead. I cannot mess with a pinnacle emperor. If he burns part of his undying body, I'd be dead. The youth gritted his teeth. Flee. He was completely shocked. One of his two underlings, a high official, was actually destroyed in just one hit. That was terrifying. Silver Wing Emperor. The youth howled, his voice transmitting via undying energy towards the golden horned beast. Howl. The beast turned, its dark gold eyes staring at the tiny little creature. Stop. The youth's gem-like red eyes suddenly shot out two red lights. They swiftly expanded and covered 100 kilometers around the beast. The beast suddenly stopped within the light. The youth turned and fled. He accelerated and fled in a straight line. Time stop. The beast instantly understood. Even though its body was affected, he could still think and function mentally, but was only unable to move. Its wings were unable to move too, its eyes and ears unable to see or hear anything. Darkness, silence. This was a silent, dark world, only its consciousness wasn't affected. There were usually only two ways to break the time stop. One was to be adept in time laws. The other was for those not trained in time laws, was to break through forcefully. Break. 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 Luo Feng howled within. The beast howled madly from within, naturally unleashing all its strength. The Showu wings also shook violently, almost like it was bound by a formless rope. Crumble. Something crumbled. He stared at the vast ice land ahead, seeing the distant mountain range crumbling from the bug army's attack, hearing the howl of the winds. Flee. You think you can flee? The beast instantly felt the location of the treasure. It was already 1 million kilometers away. This video will end here.